The Broncos, they got all the way to the AFC Championship game last year. Obviously, they might have done more if Bo Nix doesn't get hurt. But whatever success they had last season, Sean Payton has made it very clear he wants to deal with a brand new clean slate heading into this season.
It's not let's run it back. Let's understand one thing. It's anything but that. When you win 11 of 13 one-score games, like you saw the flip in just one season between Kansas City, it's how do you improve your team, and the better you get, the harder it is to improve your team.
Yeah, I will tell you, that's why I think the Jaden Waddle acquisition with Cortland Sutton, Harvey, you start looking around at their skill pieces now, Franklin, Mims, you're like, yeah, it's time. Like, you're going to have to pay Bo here in a couple years. It feels like, to me, just roster composition, Denver's got the best roster in their division and maybe in the AFC.
Yeah, I think they're going to be a very sexy pick to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. I think the Waddle, I think why you got to like the Waddle move is the offense is his baby. He's utilized a lot of these type guys. You can move them around. But there's a lot of pressure. This is going to be a high-priced team. They've kind of got over that hump with the Russell Wilson contract. Like you said, they still have the rookie quarterback contract working to their advantage. That's why they could make the move. But they just gave their first and third round pick, Colin, for a guy. So they're all in right now.
Yeah, I mean, Jaden Wall's a very good player. First, third is a lot. But I think that also tells you, I mean, that's Sean Payton basically saying, guys, we got 2 years to pay Bo Nix. Like, what are we waiting for? Let's go get a certified 1 or a 1A. So, I mean, offensively, I always feel like if you have an offensive coach like Ben Johnson or Sean Payton, you can overpay. Like, they'll squeeze the most out of the talent. And I kind of feel with Sean Payton, this is validation. He was right about Bo Nix. We can now say he was right about Bo Nix. And his take is, this is what I think the Ben Johnsons are doing too. It's like, hey, I'm going to have to pay Caleb a fortune in a couple years. Load up now.
And the one thing, when you close your eyes and you think Bo Nix at Oregon, the type guys they have, Waddle feels like that type player. So I think he goes and he fits with Bo Nix, getting the ball to him behind the line of scrimmage. But, man, Colin, there are going to be a lot of disappointed teams in the AFC because there's only one team that can win it.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember when there was talk last season about that the Broncos should maybe draft a quarterback this year? Do you guys remember that? I remember that. That was pretty funny. Now we're like, oh, if only Bo Nix wasn't there, they could have maybe won the Super Bowl. And I was like, yeah, 'cause he's a great quarterback. I'm not even going to rant too much about the first and third Jalen Waddle being saying like, oh, they gave up a lot. Like, no, they didn't. Where they were drafting, you weren't getting anyone like Jalen Waddle. You know, if they had the 8th overall pick, sure, then we could have a conversation about it. That's not the case that the Broncos found themselves in because they won a lot of games last year. So, the Jalen Waddle move makes absolute sense. They do have an argument for the best roster in the NFC and in the AFC for sure. I don't know if you guys know this, but last year they were a top team in the NFL. I don't know if you guys know this, but they were the number 1 seed in the AFC. And they got to the AFC Championship game and would have gotten to the Super Bowl if their quarterback didn't break his ankle or whatever bone it ended up being in his foot. So, when you put that all together, we can reach the conclusion. I was trying to run the numbers the other day. But the numbers told me that the Broncos were a good team last year. That they won games last year. Okay. That they had a great defense. They had a great offense. Maybe it didn't look as amazing as you wanted it to at times. Surprise, surprise, this is called football. And there you go. And I love Sean Payton's messaging. This is what the great teams do. This is what the Chiefs have done. This is what the Eagles have done. Like, you're like, we're not like running it back. There's no like, okay, this is how great we were last year. Like my whole rant, right? Like, you were great last year. It's like it doesn't matter. This is this year. Brand new team. Brand new team. Brand new everything. Brand new schedule. The ball is going to bounce differently than it did last year. And it's just the way it goes. So, everything is brand new, brand new, brand new. And that's why it's like I love to talk about the games that you should have won or shouldn't have won. You know, people struggle with those types of conversations. You know, I look at games where I'm like, okay, you won this game, but like you were fortunate to win this game or you could have lost this or technically you should have lost this. And that goes into my evaluation when I'm trying to figure out how good or not good a team is. And so, when you're and this is essentially what Sean is kind of talking about when it's just like you're looking at the one-score games and all this. Like, he knows. He's coached enough football. He's been around football long enough to know that if you run it back, run it back. And now I just mean like. Run it back in terms of like you're playing all the same teams, same games, and the games are unfolding in a similar way. Like, he knows, yeah, you know what? There's definitely times that you're going to lose that game against the Jets. That you're going to lose that game against the Raiders. That you're going to lose that game against the Eagles. Right? Like that's the way football goes. That's the way these things unfold. You don't lock in the win as now it becomes like part of your soul and your identity. And that's what you do. You will never lose games in those types of situations ever. And it's like that's not the way it works. And so, that's why it's like you want to keep getting better. I talk about this so much now. This seems to be definitely one of my prevailing philosophies these days is like stretching that margin of error. Widening that margin of error. Just becoming better and better and better in ways that allow you to not have to be perfect or need the football gods on your back. So, even when you're fortunate to win a game, like again, against the Jets, the Raiders, the Eagles, it doesn't mean that you didn't do anything to win those games. That you weren't deserving. You know, going for it on 2 against the Eagles and making big plays, big stops. Like, you're not taking anything away from the win, right? But it's just recognizing a series of events needed to go in our favor for us to come away with the win. And we want a W. Either margin of error. And so, yeah, I do think the pressure is on for this team to compete and not only win games, but to be great. But to truly be great. And it's interesting to hear, John Middlecoff be like, oh, I think a lot of people are going to be picking the Broncos now. And it's just like, I don't know about that. I don't see that energy anywhere. I mean, people still don't really believe in Bo Nix. You have people saying like, oh, they moved they gave up a lot for Jalen Waddle. I think they have the third best Colin said they have the best record or the best roster, maybe in the AFC and yet they're third in the AFC West to win. Like, they're behind the Chargers and the Chiefs. And again, that is strictly because of Bo Nix. If the world saw Bo Nix as they did, I don't even want to use like the biggest names right now, but whatever, we'll just go through them. Obviously the Lamars, the Joshes, the Mahomeses, the Justin Herberts even. People would feel better about the Broncos. And the mathematical people, the people who make conclusions and predictions based on the numbers, based on the math and the history. All the fun prediction models. They would if they felt better about Bo Nix, they would elevate this team. This team would have a lot more belief behind it. But it's not there yet. And so, this is the year where you're. Now year 3 with the Denver Broncos. You have the continuity with coaching and roster as well. You're not losing main pieces. It's not like Bo Nix is like, okay, well, you're year 3. But now, his security blanket is really old now and he's retiring or they have to move on from him cause he's too expensive or this or that. Like, you're not in that situation. You got even better. You got another dude to work with right now. And I do believe they'll be able to get this run game going in a consistent fashion as well. And so now it's like the pressure I've put and I've defended Bo Nix and praised Bo Nix and I still got this save just to, bring up any time I feel that it's necessary. But to me, this is the year. This is the year for Bo Nix to show I'm Bo Nix. This is who I am. I am a legitimate top quarterback in the NFL. I get it done. I get it done. You doubted me in year 1. You doubted me in year 2. And you're going to doubt me in year 3. You're not going to be able to doubt me going into year 4. 'Cause you're going to be forced to have to say, yeah, no, that's the quarterback. 'Cause again, remember, we had takes. I made clips around them saying, do the Broncos have a Bo Nix problem? Are they going to need to draft another quarterback this coming draft? Like that was a conversation that was actually had. I want to see Bo Nix so great this season that if you had that take, you'd have people be like, what are you talking? You could only see it. People be like, oh, this is clickbait. You're just looking for clicks, views. You're a clat like the comments section should be insane. The person on the other side of the table should be like, you're insane. And I want to see Bo Nix in this Broncos team, but especially Bo Nix playing a way where it's just if you say anything but him being an awesome quarterback, you're legitimately crazy. Like that's the step that I want to see. Doesn't mean that he has to be the best quarterback in the NFL. Doesn't mean that he has to be an MVP, in the MVP conversation. I'm not saying any of that. Doesn't mean that he needs to become, make every single big throw and every single big play and all the got to have it moments, but I just want him to play at a high enough level where it just becomes impossible to see the Broncos as anything but great. That's what I'm looking for this season. And I think he's going to do it. I'm really excited about what Bo has to work with. I'm really excited to see Bo in year 3. I think he's continued to improve and get better and better each season, and I trust the culture and around the Broncos. And I don't even, culture I kind of can use in multiple ways like the teen culture and whatnot, but just in terms of the culture now in terms of like what the coaching staff is going to look to do with Bo and the work that Bo is going to want to put in this offseason and beyond. So, I had high hopes for the Broncos last season. Surprise, they were the 1 seed and got to the AFC Championship game. Also the Super Bowl, but and I have high hopes for the Broncos this year. So, we'll see. We'll see. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about them for Broncos and Bo Nix? Do you think they have the best roster in the NFL? And that's what's interesting, right? I'll end here, but even Colin's like they have the best roster in the NFL. He's not saying that they're the best team. He's not saying that they're the best team. That says something about the conversation around the Broncos. It's like, oh, they got a great roster. Was it they have the best roster, why aren't they the best team? Why aren't we saying, well, they are the top Super Bowl contender in the NFL? You got to go through them. It's interesting, right? It's interesting. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.